There's a piece of software running in the world somewhere right now that your life depends on. You don't know its name, you've never seen its code, and there's a good chance only one person fully understands how it works. That person might be overworked, burnt out, already gone. But if they disappear, nothing obvious happens at first. No alarms, no headlines, just a small failure somewhere deep in the system. Then another and another, until one day, something you rely on just stops working. And nobody immediately knows why. This isn't hypothetical, this is already happening all the time in ways most people never see, because the modern internet isn't built the way you think it is. It's not clean, it's not controlled, it's not even fully understood. It's a patchwork of open source projects held together by trust and maintained by people you will never hear about. And that system has a dark side. Open source runs everything: the internet, cloud, infrastructure, finance, governance. Even the device you're watching this on, projects like Linux, OpenSSL, Kubernetes, they aren't optional anymore. They're infrastructure, and because they're open, we assume they're safer, more eyes, more transparency, more accountability. But that assumption is where things start to break down, because open source isn't just code, it's people. And people don't scale cleanly. When you install software, you imagine a team behind it, engineers, review, processes, testing pipelines. But often, that's not what's there. Sometimes it's just one person. In 2014, a vulnerability called Heartbleed was discovered in OpenSSL. It allowed attackers to read memory from servers, passwords, data, all sensitive. It affected a huge portion of the internet. At the time, OpenSSL was maintained by basically two people, two core developers. One of them was working part-time. This wasn't a small project, this was critical infrastructure. This is the hidden layer of open source, critical systems maintained by very small teams, sometimes unpaid, sometimes overwhelmed, and sometimes one step away from disappearing. There's a concept in software, the bus factor. How many people need to disappear before a project fails? I've spoken about this before in my videos. For many open source projects, that number is 1. In 2016, a developer unpublished a tiny package called Left Pad. It was just 11 lines of code, but thousands of projects depended on it. When it disappeared, build systems broke globally, all because one person made a decision. That's how this system fails, not dramatically, but suddenly, and in places you don't expect. Let's follow a single piece of software. You install an app. That app depends on a library. That library depends on another library. And that one depends on 5 more. Before long, you're not using one piece of software. You're relying on hundreds, maybe thousands. Now imagine this. One of those dependencies, 6 layers deep, is maintained by one person. You don't know them. You never will. But their code is running in your system. If they make a mistake, accept bad code, or walk away, that problem isn't isolated. It spreads from one project to another until it's everywhere, and by the time it's discovered, it's buried, hidden under layers of abstraction. This isn't a system, it's a web. And webs are strong, but they're also very good at hiding weak points. Open source doesn't scale through control, it scales through trust. You trust maintainers, contributors, updates, dependencies, and especially dependencies of dependencies. Because you don't audit everything, you can't. So what are you really doing? You're trusting the system. Sometimes that trust is exploited. A developer handed over a popular package, the new maintainer added code, it looked normal. passed checks, but hidden inside was malicious code targeting crypto wallets. No exploit, no hack, just trust. More recently, a backdoor was found in the XZUtils, a core Linux compression library. The attacker spent years contributing, building trust until they had enough influence to insert malicious code. Not false, just patience. The system wasn't broken, it worked exactly as designed. And that's the problem. Now flip that perspective. You're the maintainer. Your project starts small and then it grows. More users, more demands. Then companies start depending on it. But nothing else really changes. You're still one person working at night, fixing bugs, reading complaints, not getting paid. People don't say thanks, they say this is broken, fix it. Eventually burn out, you stop responding, and one day you disappear. The project doesn't fail, it just stops being maintained, which is worse, because it's still being used just without anyone watching it. If you wanted to compromise the system, you wouldn't attack big companies, you'd go smaller. Look for low maintained projects, overworked developers, quiet corners. Then you'd help, contribute, build trust, wait months, years, until nobody questions your changes. Then you act. So let's break this down. The myth, more eyes equals more security. The reality, most people don't read code, and for many projects, only a few people ever do. Sometimes just one. Where it works, open source can be resilient, bugs are visible, fixes can be fast, projects can be forked. That's the powerful, the trade-off. But that resilience is reactive. It kicks in after something goes wrong. The hidden truth. This system works because failure is rare. Not impossible, rare. And when failure happens, it's subtle. A small library, a quiet change, a missing maintainer, small things with massive reach. So why doesn't it collapse? Because most people are honest, most code is boring, and most of the time nothing goes wrong. The real risk, we've scaled this model. Before what it was designed for, open source now supports the internet, the economy, everything. So is open source broken? No, it's misunderstood. We think it's a system of code, but it's a system of people. People who get tired, people who make mistakes, people who can be trusted or not. We didn't just build software on open source, we built the world on it. And we're only just starting to realise how fragile that foundation can be.